Good afternoon and welcome. It's Dawn from Homespun in Wales. It's been a good while since I've posted anything to my channel, so I've decided it's time to get it going again. So, my channel is a craft channel. I do a lot of mixed crafts. It's not a floss tube. It's not a vlogmas. It's not a quilting channel. It's a mixture of all sorts. And it's not about yarn or anything. It's just about my crafting life. Anyway, we're coming up to, it's now December, is it the 7th, 8th today? So we're coming up towards the end of the year. Now, next year, I have decided I really need to clear out, organise and get finished a lot of projects. So I'm going to start by telling you what I'm doing in that department. So my organisation, as what has sparked this is, one, I officially reached retirement age a few weeks ago, so I'm now a pensioner, and I actually retire from farm work, the meat markets, etc. I retire from that in a few weeks' time. So next year I will have a lot more time on my hands. But the other thing that sparked this is, as I mentioned before, my in-laws are now living beside us in a mobile home. They're both 88. They've both got Alzheimer's. And we've had all their stuff brought over and we've been going through it and getting them set up in their home and working our way through decluttering masses and masses of stuff. And this just sort of made me think, and this isn't the first time I've done this. I've done it with my own mum. I did it with my dad, who wasn't a big collector, but there was still stuff to be gone through. My mum's sister-in-law, Gisela, when she passed away. So this is, I've done this several times before, and each time it's made me sort of think, I don't want my children to have to go through this, to go through my clutter, my life, my disorganisation. So I've made a conscious effort that I need to slim it all down, and I want to minimalise the stuff in the house. Now, being a crafter, of course, like lots of crafters, I've got endless work in progress, unfinished projects, things that have been shelved away, and haven't seen the light of day for years, projects I've started because I've got excited about them and then I've moved on to something else and so forth. So what I did was I started with all my yarn. That's what I started with. And I pulled out all the yarn from the various places around the house and down in my cabin. Pulled them all out and gone through them. There was some unfinished projects there. There was some which I thought, I've got no idea what that was. I was knitting or crocheting or whatever. And I was quite ruthless. Things that I thought, there's no way on earth I'm ever going to finish that. And I'm not interested in pulling it out, frogging it back. I cut the ball of yarn off and I binned it. I kept the ball of wood, I binned the bit of the project that was there, took it off the needles or hooks or whatever, and binned it. There were some of them I thought they just need a little bit of finishing, so they were just put in bags to one side, and there were some which I thought, I can pull that back. It's an easy enough pattern to pull back, and I can reuse the yarn for something else. So they were put into another pile. And then all the completed balls of yarn were stored away in plastic storage boxes with lids. No more cardboard boxes. I'm not having stuff in cardboard boxes anymore. We're going to become a plastic storage box house. And so then they were all stacked up in one place. All the oddments of yarn have gone into it's a small ottoman. So all the oddments have gone into there. So that was all the yarn dealt with. I then pulled out from everywhere that I could. I was just going through and being really ruthless and pulling out all these unfinished projects and starts and whatever. And I had them in a big, and I mean a big pile, sitting on the spare bedroom floor. And again, I went through them and I was really ruthless, and I thought, there is no way I haven't got the instructions anymore to finish it off. So then one's got put to one side. And I've got no interest in actually finishing that project. You know, I really don't want to give it the light of day again. So they were all added to the same pile. Now these all were a mixture of cross stitch, black work, embroidery, ribbon work, quilting. What else was in there? Just sort of a mixture of you know, projects like that. And so then I ended up with this big pile. The pile of stuff I was getting rid of was put into a big bag, and I advertised it on the local Facebook marketplace. Anybody want this? You know, some of them haven't got charts anymore, but you might be able to work out how to finish it, whatever. Some of them had their charts and bits there I was no longer interested in finishing, and they all went off to a good home. So that was them gone. And in fact, I can't even remember what was there. So that was them got rid of. There were some bits which were beyond help, absolutely beyond help, and they did go in the bin. And then I was left with this big pile of projects. So I decided, this is what my thought was. Let me show you. I got myself 12. I ordered 15-litre boxes, but they actually sent me 20-litre boxes. There we go. 12 of those with a clip-top lid, so they're all nice and secure. No chance of anything falling out. Handle. Every one of them I marked with the month of the year. And I just laid them all out with lids off on the bed in the spare room. And then as I was going through projects, and I just started throwing them into the boxes. So they were shared out between the 12 boxes. And while I was doing it, I tried to make sure that there was some cross stitch in each box and quilting in each box. Bits of knitting, bits of crochet, things that needed unravelling. Things that maybe only needed a tiny little bit of work to finish off. And I mean tiny. A couple of hours and the project would be finished. So all the boxes have got a mixture of those. And as we've been clearing my in-laws' things, my mother-in-law was a great crafter. She liked to do tapestries and cross stitch, and she did lace work, and she did quilting and knitting. There was a lot of hers that quilt panels that she'd started later in her years as the Alzheimer's was starting to take effect, and I can see that in her stitching. So she'd sort of started them, put it to one side, and she's not the sort of person to put a project to one side and not finish it. She avidly worked through her projects and she got them finished before she started a new one. So, but there was quite a few of these. I've also distributed them amongst my boxes, and so I'm going to try and get a lot of those finished off. The tapestries, I handed over to a lady at the sewing group that I go to who does a lot of tapestry work, and she finished off them. The threads, the wool was there. She finished off them for me, and I've now smuggled them back into my mother-in-law's home for her to find one day, because she goes through things and brings out things and sorts through them, and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that, and then puts them away again. and that's just the nature of the disease. So some of her projects are in my boxes, and when I get them finished, they will be donated to charities or whatever to raise funds for Alzheimer's dementia. I'll show you sort of roughly what's in December box. These boxes I am not touching until January. So in the December box, I have got a little patchwork bear, and his little patchwork pieces are there. So he's got to be finished off, and most of him is done. It is all just surface patchwork, and then it's all just got to be done with a decorative stitch on the edges. So he's in there. This is a little ribbon work kit that was started and not completed. This, a little Mother's Day card. So there's that to be done. Again, it's only all I've done on it. Oh, where's it gone? And it's a magazine freebie. Now the problem with these is I don't have the magazine, but what I do is I can photocopy that and enlarge it, and I can make myself a chart out of it. So, but as you can see, I've started stitching. So that won't take long to do. This is another magazine one. It's even got its own little plastic wallet. Right, and it is that from a magazine. It's only tiny. It's got a little frame. That's the size of the frame. So it's literally, I'm going to say 2 inches by 2 inches. I've got the threads and I've got most of the house done. So, but again, I haven't got the chart, but I think I can roughly work with the picture to be able to finish that off and get it in the little frame. So again, that won't take long to do. Oh, that one I'll show you in a minute. I've got this was done as a cushion. It's done in long stitch. So, and it's actually, the front is all completed. And I actually love this design. I've got another long stitch one down in my lounge. I like working with long stitch. I've got another one down in the lounge that I've done, which is a totally different design. It's got flowers, all to do with spring in there. Now this I'd actually paired up with some Welsh wool to turn into a cushion cover. So that has got to be put together, zip on. It'll all get done in a day. Now this is a whole stitch project. That I just need to sit and crack on with, you know, every now and then I've picked it up. I don't think there's a lot left to be done on it actually. I mean, this box isn't going to be touched until December next year, so by then I will have forgotten what's in the box. It's all being hand stitched. A way to get it out somewhere. There we go. There we go. So it's a pre-printed design. Well, no, it's not a whole stitch. It's a trapunto. That's what it is. Most of it is done. I would say 3/4 of it is done. So I've only got, or maybe 2/3 of it is done. So I've only got, you know, maybe I've got a bit more. There's a bit more to be done at the top here, and the border has got to be done. So come December next year, I can get on and get that finished. I'd like to think I can get it finished in December. So that's oh no, there's one more there. This is a cross stitch. Everything is there. I haven't touched it for years. Now, I bought this cross stitch, must be about 15 years ago. And I think it will take me quite a few years to do it. It's a Jello Designs, Joan Elliott Designs. The year isn't on it, that's the picture. But that is all I've got done. So there's a lot to do. It's on 28 count, and it's 30 by 40 centimeters, so it's a big design. So it's not going to get finished in, and there's beads. There is beads to be added to it as well. That won't get finished in December. But the plan is, first of the month I can pull my box out. End of the month, whatever's left in here, the lid goes on, and it can go away until that month comes round again. And I'm not going to feel guilty about having the unfinished projects in there. So that's my December box, and I added to it this one of my mother-in-law's, where she'd started putting it together. So it's all been basted. I can look at her stitches and start to see her stitches are starting to go astray. So it's all been basted. And I hope December next year to have that finished for her. And if they're still living here, I'll have it finished and the binding on. It won't take long to do, and the binding on, and they can put it up in their home next Christmas. Well, maybe not Christmas now. Anyway, so that's my idea for organising my project. So first of the month, I will pull out January's box. I will do a video to show what's in that box, and I'll do videos through the month to show how I'm getting on. End of the month, lid goes on the box, whatever's left in there will stay there, and I pull out the next month. So what have I been up to? I have been up to quite a lot, actually. I've been working on Christmas presents, and I've been doing these for some of my granddaughters. They're turban towels, and I've been machine embroidering their initials on them. So that's for some of the older girls in the family. A couple of the younger girls are getting... I've done these toweling robes with the little girl and the braid on the hood. So these are all waiting to be wrapped up now and to be sent on their way. And one little boy we have in the family, little baby boy. Most of my grandchildren are all grown up. This is great grandchildren now. His one has got a sheep on the hood. So he's coming up to his first birthday. So that's that one done. For the in-laws, because they don't really need anything, when I was sorting through my yarn stash, etc., I found some chunky yarn, and I've knitted them some mitts. These are Mum's. They look big, but that's because they're in chunky. Put them on the wrong hand. I deliberately, on Mum's one, I put a little flower on the back so she knows which way up it is. But actually, when you've got them on, it does fit my hand quite nicely. They both complain of cold hands when they're out. So I've knitted them both a pair. These ones are Mum's and Dad's are in a dark green. And that's just been able to use up some of my stash as well. I also knitted a hat for my friend's birthday. I will pop a picture up of it. It was her birthday yesterday, so she's had her present now. And that was a very quick knit up. There is lots of other bits I've been getting done. I've been working on a bunting to go over the fireplace. and I had this little macrame kit that has been sitting there a year or so now, that does these little macrame Christmas trees. So I've got them done. They're going on the bunting or garland, and they are going with, I've got some fruit slices, grapefruit, oranges, limes, so I'm going to do strings of those as well on my garland, and I'll add a bit of greenery. I'll pick a bit of greenery from out in the garden, and I'm going to use this ribbon to make the garland. I like this ribbon because it's got the little stars with it, and to me this all looks a bit seasonal. So this is a winter garland. I tend to have winter themed things rather than Christmas themed things. So I found a ball of twine as well in amongst my stash, so that's going to get used to put the garland together. So that I'll be doing over the next week. And what else? In an effort to get organised, there's a couple of more things to show you there what I've been working on, but in an effort to get myself organised, I've got myself some journals. I got the sewing journal and project book. I got these all off Amazon, and plenty of space to write down what I'm sewing, etc. I got a crochet logbook. So, and I hope sort of one day maybe my daughter will come across some and think, oh, Mum was doing that. So I remember when Mum knitted that and things like that. I've got a knitting one. I like the knitting one because you've got the knitting chart as well. That's the knitting journal. And then this one, it didn't come off Amazon. I managed to find this one on eBay. And it is the 226 book of days. 2026, sorry, book of days. And this is for needlework projects. So it'll cover the embroidery, the cross stitch, tapestries, that sort of thing. And you get a whole month spread over 2 pages and lots of room to make lots of notes. So they are my journals that I'm going to be using to keep a record of what I've been doing. Now, because my boxes aren't starting until January, and I've finished the Christmas gifts, and of course it means I've got nothing to sort of sit and do. I don't want to be starting a new project as such. I don't want to be pulling something out of January's box. I did find a machine embroidery project to finish, which I can't do in the evenings. I can do during the day. Just let me grab that to show you. So machine embroidery, I tend to do that down my cabin. I do little bits up here, but it's mainly down the cabin. So this is a table runner I started doing, must have been this time last year, maybe the year before. And this one was going to be a sample for a workshop. So I started embroidering the snowflakes on in gold, and I've marked out all of the table runner where the snowflakes are to go, and that just got put away when I stopped doing the workshops, and it never got finished. So I'm going to, I've got a few things down the cabin that I work on, but I'm going to get that one finished down the cabin. But of course in the evenings when I'm sitting there, I need something to do. So I found online, as I was going through watching on YouTube, lots of floss tubes and vlogmas and lots of other things, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned about a stitch along advent. Hold on, I got somebody at the door. Right, sorry for the interruption. It was my husband coming in from work and etc. So anyway, I can't remember what I was saying now. I think I was saying about I found a stitch along, and I found it on, I was watching some floss tubes and vlogmas etc, and somebody mentioned, I can't remember who, so I apologise if you see this and I haven't mentioned your name, but I can't remember who it was that said about it. And it was a free stitch along that was on Instagram. Let me put my glasses on because the writing is tiny, then I can tell you who on Instagram is doing it, because there's still time to catch up on it. Anna Gutova, which is artmishkacrossstitch.com, and she's doing this stitch along, advent stitch along. So every day you get a notification to say your next little bit's there, and it's up to 80 stitches. So it doesn't take long to stitch out at all, and it's all done in one colour. So this is mine up to day 7. I think day 1 and 2 was sort of all around here, and I know this little bit up here I was stitching last night, and I've just had day 8 come through, which brings me back down here, and it looks like there's another little bit down here, and it looks like it's going to be in a circle, a reef shape. So you could choose your own size, count of fabric, choose your own threads. So I'm doing it. This is 14 count, I believe. I haven't got the wrapper here with me, and I'm not very up on cross stitch terms. I believe this is a 14 count I'm working on. Or is it an 18? Might be an 18 count actually. And it is I'm using a single stranded DMC cotton that I have quite a few skeins of. I was given them many years ago, and I tend to use them for red work. And I'm doing that. So I came across the stitch along on, I think it was day 4 when I heard about it, and I thought, oh, quite fancy doing that, because I didn't buy an advent calendar. I've stopped buying advent calendars. They cost too much money, and I'm always disappointed with them. Even the craft ones I've had in the past, I've been disappointed with. So, and I thought, well, it's free, so I'm enjoying doing that. Now, something else I'm doing. So I managed to catch up in a couple of days. And then I've been working on it sort of first thing in the evening. I sit there and I do my little bit of stitching for the day. Right, the other thing I'm doing, this has been the bane of my life. I bought this kit about 20 years ago, and I bought it because I liked it, and I thought it will be quick to do. And I know it was about 20 years ago because I bought it when we were over in Florida, and I think it was from Joann's I bought it, and it was in the year 2000. And it cost me $11.99 20 years ago. And I thought, it's on canvas, plastic canvas, and it's working with wools. This is what you're working with, so they're nice and thick. And I thought, this is going to be, you know, a fairly quick stitch out. Now, we used to go over to Florida in December time. We always used to sort of go over at Christmas time to get away from Christmas here. And I used to go over and I'd take a little suitcase with me and buy a lot of things from Michael's and Joann's and little independent shops when they had their sales on over the Christmas New Year period. Because here in the UK, we didn't have the same choice, and things cost a lot of money. And it was always a lot cheaper over there. So I used to have this smaller suitcase inside my big suitcase, and I used to buy quilting fabrics and quilting kits and cross stitches and all sorts. This was one of them kits. And I'd started it, and I hated it from day one, stitching on the plastic canvas. I'd got up to, I think, I did the outside border, the black, and then I got the first 2 letters done there. This is a 10 count plastic canvas, and I just absolutely hate stitching on it. You know, the wool tangles. I struggled, the needle that came with it, I struggled to get through the plastic. And it's been a real battle. The past 2 nights it's taken me to do just this bit there. So from there over to the side, do the letter E, and I've done that because I've made an error here. I've done 1 row of red too many, so I'm going to have to make the C and the O, I've got to make some slight adjustments to. And it's hurting my hands to stitch. But this is the needle that came with it. And it's a real struggle. It's a tight fit to get it through the canvas. So when you're getting it through and then you've got the yarn and the size of the eye, it's a real struggle. Now I've gone through my stash. And I did a bit of research, and I found the recommended needle size for a 10 count plastic canvas tapestry work is a 24. A 24 tapestry, is that right? I think so. I couldn't find a 24 in my stash, but I found a 22. I'm going to try tonight with a 22. And that's the difference in the needles. So I'm hoping, I have ordered some 24s, and I am hoping that this will make a big difference and not be so sore on my hands, because last night I was having a go at stitching out the outline of the although you see, looking at the picture, my outline's a bit different to theirs. It's supposed to be the outline to the candy cane up the top there. Mine definitely says white. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to try with a different size needle, see how I get on. If I really don't get on, I'm just going to pass it on to somebody else so that they can finish it off and have it. The wire, it's on a wire hanger. I don't know if you can see that. There's a wire hangers there. So it's supposed to be sort of like bouncy, this bottom part from the top part. And so I'm gonna, the wire's not there, I don't know where the wire is, but I've got plenty of wire in my stash, and that'll be, if I get round to doing that, that'd be easy enough to make up. So that's them that I'm working on in the evenings. So I'm just sort of biding my time really until January comes along and spending time organising. And what I need to do is I need to make some project bags. Let me just take a sip a minute. I need to make some project bags to put things in. I don't seem to have any suitable. And what was the other thing I saw? I saw somebody using something and I thought, oh, that's a good idea. Grime guard, that was it. And I thought, oh, I could do with making a couple of those. In having a sort out, I came across my box of Ada. And there's a right mixture in there. But in there is this little baby's bib with pink binding on it. So I'm going to have a go at. I've got a new great-grandchild due January, end of January, and it's a little girl, so I'd like to do like maybe her name and something on this little bib to sort of use it up. But I want to try and use up as much stuff as I can. I've been sorting out today, going through boxes and boxes of stuff I've got left over from having a shop, and I'm distributing it amongst friends. I'm giving it to charities, some of it which is beyond help now I'm having to dispose of, sadly, but the rest of it, as I'm going through, it's all being stored now in big plastic totes. Yeah, so it's 11 years last month since I shut my shop, and it's taken me all this time to get round to clearing out the last of what's sitting in there. So the plan is for the next, I'm going to try and do another video next week, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a lot more on that Santa. When I finish off projects in my boxes, and my boxes are sort of down to 1 or 2 projects, I might pull out another one, because I've got a lot of kits, an awful lot of kits. I might pull out a kit and make a new start, which can then go into the box as well. I've just got so much stuff to get done. So not to get done, but so much stuff I want to do, and I've got so much stuff to clear out. And I've been reorganising the cabin, I've been organising my sewing room here, and I'm being really ruthless when I do it, and I'm making sure everything goes into storage boxes. And one of the reasons behind doing that is we do hope to move in the next year or so, and it will just make things easier. Pick up a storage box and go. So that is what I am working on at the moment. Right, so that winds me up. That's about it. That's all I've got to say this month. Like I say, it's a craft vlog, if you want to call it a vlog, a craft vlog. Not a craft tube, no. It's not a floss tube. It's not. I'm not just about cross stitch and tapestries or needlework. It's not about embroidery or slow stitching, knitting, sewing, quilting, whatever. It's a mixture of my crafty life. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll tune in again with you next month, and hopefully be able to show you some good progress that I've made with what I've got on the go. Thank you very much. Take care.